Hi. Right, Heather. So my confession that I said I was going to say to you is I'm so delighted that you can do an interview. And my confession is this is the first interview that I've done where I know absolutely nothing about you at all. What a starter for 10 that is. I just had to get that off my chest because normally I do a little bit of Facebook trolling or I do a little bit of, oh, they must have a website, and I thought, and so I was coming to meet you because you've done Ibiza, you've been in London, and you're with Craig, who's the videographer right now. And then you come back to London. I thought, right, I'm going to nab you and I'm going to ask you because you said you wouldn't be interviewed. Yep. And then I was waiting for you to arrive and I thought, yeah, I know nothing about you at all. So this is a first. So that is an invitation for you to talk about whatever you like. You can talk about these theoretically delicious cocktails. Theoretically,
we downed really fast.
We downed them really fast because they were theoretically delicious. They were kind of perfume. So we're in the booking office, which is in St Pancras, and so I have caught you en route because you were going to go to see Uncover, the Standing Stones band, which unfortunately was cancelled. So you came back through to London. So, Heather, tell all, because you're in the independent creators, and when we were talking just before you came on camera, you did mention that you a culinary expertise because you were showing me Lee John's. Where do you want to start? Do you want to tell us about that cake, or where would you like to start?
So I started my career in culinary arts. I went to college. I did so well that they offered me a position to teach culinary arts. Oh. So I taught for 9 years. I taught college, and then I taught 2 years of high school. And then after that, I went into restaurant management for a couple of years, and then decided to chill for a little early retirement. And then I moved to California.
So can we back up to the culinary arts? Because as far as I'm concerned, when I see on the not that many, quite rare occasions that I go to Michelin star places, I see works of art on the plate. So is that what culinary arts is? When it's really kind of, I'm just assuming, is it food design?
It is. It's a lot of that. It's basically, learning all your meals, all your different placements, you want everything to look great. Presentation is definitely one of your big things because it's the first thing people look at when they go to eat something. But
if you're doing a whole degree in culinary arts, there must be so much more.
There is. So you learn food science. You learn baking. You learn international cuisine. You learn all of those. And at the same time, we are learning math and all of that because you've got your measurements and you've got all of that stuff that you have to make sure you're really good at because you have to follow those recipes.
Yeah. So as distinct from being a chef, so would a chef presumably wouldn't go and do culinary arts? So it's different in that respect because there's so much more of the kind of theoretical stuff around it. Well, or would a chef go?
A chef does. Yes. They go to school to be a chef.
But do they study culinary arts?
Yes.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's So you trained to be a chef?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just never went down the chef path because I did so well. I just kind of went down the teaching way, and I loved teaching.
And what was it that fired you up about culinary arts? What led you to do that in the first place? Were you brought up with like gorgeous dishes like every night in your family, or did you just, I don't know, my sister calls it food porn when she gets the free magazines. She gets the free magazines from the posh supermarkets, and she'll just be looking through them like this. I'm like, what are you doing? Because I love good food, but she's like, oh, it's my food porn. So some people are just the passion for food. That's probably slightly inappropriate. I think you get the idea. Yeah. It's a really kind of healthy fixation, isn't it?
I just loved cooking, and I did really well at it. And at the time, my husband was like, "You do so well in cooking. What do you want to do?" And I was just like, I don't know what I want to do. I wanted to be a marine biologist. What I wanted to do. But he was in the military, so we kind of hopped around and never really got to be by the water to do something like that. And he's just like, you should do culinary school. And I was like, that kind of sounds cool. And so I went into culinary school, and there I was.
Yeah, for 3 years? The
Yeah.
same as any. Oh, that's fascinating. Because it's just not something I would be that familiar with. So I kind of want to know, it's difficult to crystallize it. Because when I've done my studies, yeah, you do, I don't know how many modules it is every single year. So what were the modules, as someone that is a novice, what were the ones that you just loved?
I really loved my international cuisine. I loved doing that.
So you had to cook it presumably and find out all about it.
Yeah, and then we basically always have, and you have to learn. You take a class on settings and serving people. I mean, it basically goes through everything.
So were any particular ones, like if you did international cuisine, what would be like is a signature dish that you can cook now that you would never have been able to cook or never thought to cook before you went?
A lot of Indian foods I really didn't know how to do because all the spices. Exactly. And I we had to learn all of those, all the different spices, all the different things like that, and all those new ones that you're not used to in everyday cooking.
So what do you cook then, the Indian? Do you still do that just to make?
I do, but now I don't really cook a whole lot because I don't have my kids and stuff like that with me. So, but when people come over, I do make sure to feed them all very well.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you'll feed them all in a very different way to somebody that doesn't have a culinary arts degree.
Craig came over. I made Bologi, and I made.
I don't know what that is. What's that? That's how culinary artistic I am. What is it?
It is a Korean meat that is marinated, and then you get. And then I made cucumber kimchi.
Oh, but that's delicious.
Yes, and then the rice and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so you make it sound so humble, but if someone came up to mine, I wouldn't be making belugi and cucumber. This just wouldn't be happening. So that's what I mean when you have that passion and when you have these things that are kind of accessible for you and passionate for you are like a million miles away from the other person. I mean, that sounds gorgeous to be inspired by international cuisine, and also there's often quite a lot of cultural practices in cuisine as well, isn't there? I mean, I know that everyone does. What's it called? I just had it the other day. I had a kimchi. What is it? The Korean kimchi. I had that yesterday. I had a kimchi pancake, not homemade, no, bought somewhere delicious. But did you have to get into all the cultural histories of the when you're doing your studies of the food as well?
We did, but not really in depth.
No,
I mean,
it's all about the food.
Yeah,
it's like more about the focus on the food.
Yeah. And it's really cool because you do, you learn a little bit about the food, a little bit about the background of it. It was a very fun experience going through school.
And then you went into teaching.
I went into teaching, and then it was
At
really
the same
crazy.
place, or you went applied
I
somewhere
did. Where I graduated, they offered me the position to teach. So that's where I started. And it was really crazy because when part of our classes we had to do baking. Could not stand baking class. I just didn't like baking. I wasn't a baker, but I did exceptional at it. I was a very good baker, but I didn't like baking. It was like I never wanted to be a baker. Did beautiful at it, and ended up doing amazing cakes. And
well, like the one that. Well, do tell us about your story because I was very, very gobsmacked actually because I thought you were just arriving here at the booking office tonight, but after seeing Duran and Ibiza, you went on a kind of spontaneous.
We did. We went to London, and we got invited to Paris to see Imagination.
Lee John from Imagination, for those of you who remember him. It was a tribute to them.
It was his 40-year anniversary, and it was also his birthday. So they had made him a birthday cake, and this thing was 3 tiers, and it was the most beautiful cake I've ever seen in my life.
It was extraordinary, wasn't it?
It was
Was
just
it like gold
beautiful.
leaf?
It was gold. It had pulled sugar. It had chocolate works. I was speaking to the gentleman. It was from Brussels. Yeah, from Brussels. They had it
It's
They
like
had
the
it
most,
brought all the way there.
yeah. It's like the kind of cake that you would give the Sultan of Brunei.
It was
Right?
insane.
It was the cake of all cakes.
Just the
It is actually
decoration.
worth talking about. I'm going to put it in the comments because I can see why, even though we hadn't met each other, we hadn't talked for very long, and you were already getting a picture out. Like, because it was absurd.
Yeah, just the decorations
yeah.
alone were $3,000.
Yeah.
That's not including the rest of the cake.
And you can have $3,000 and make a really one that looks glitz, but this looked like architectural paradise. It was so exquisitely designed, wasn't it? And so that's when we said culinary arts. That's what I kind of thought. It was all on the design, which there is a lot of design. And so who are the people that you think, or if you're still doing it, that you still get fired up by now, or that you think are the new people that are kind of,
I love Gordon Ramsay.
you love
Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay,
So-
he's a Marmite guy,
so,
right? You
yeah.
either love him or hate him.
So,
but
when I saw Gran in Vegas, oh my God, the last time you guys were in Vegas?
right.
So we got invited to a speakeasy. We went to the speakeasy.
Oh, you
and
did?
he was in there.
Was he?
Yes. And I was like, Gordon Ramsay. And
Oh my
the two
God.
friends I was with, they're like, okay. I was like, it's Gordon Ramsay, it's Gordon Ramsay.
Was he shouting at someone?
No, he was hanging out. But to me, it was a big deal.
Yeah,
but
it is a
to my
massive
friends,
deal.
they're like, they didn't think it was a big
Yeah,
deal.
well, to anybody it would be. He's still a huge celebrity, and he's a brilliant chef. From what I'm not sure if I've actually sampled. Yeah, but he's your.
I got.
Have you tried his food?
I went to one of his restaurants and I had a hamburger.
Yeah, because I have it was a Gordon Ramsay hamburger, though, right?
Yeah.
And if you see any of his shows, even though if you put a foot wrong, you might be kind of kicked from one planet to another. But the actual precision, there's so much care and passion, so you can be forgiven as an independent creator. Not that he's independent, he's a bit more than an independent creator now. He's like multi-successful, chef, and he's got restaurants all over the place. But you can still identify with that level of passion and aspire to that level of precision and of care and attention, because you can see all of that. Even though he might come out with all sorts of shades of swear words at times. Although not recently, actually, he seems to have mellowed a little bit. But you've got to commend, and you've got to be inspired by that level. Anyone that, regardless of what you work in, when you get that level of mastery, you're always inspired, aren't you? Always inspired. So that's kind of cool. So I think it's cool that you're inspired by he's inspired, but you've only actually sampled a hamburger.
Yeah.
Like I love Shaka Khan, but I have listened to more. So maybe you need to go and have some more.
I do.
You need to go and have some more. I don't know if there's a Gordon Ramsay place here. So anybody else? Is there anyone else that you recommend? Any Americans? Because I know Gordon Ramsay, and I probably know a few others that can't think of right now, but any American ones that we should know about, or any programs? There's I get hooked on MasterChef for celebrities. I get hooked on the Great British Menu is another one. Have you got any of those kind of equivalents in the States?
God, I can't even think of any, to be honest. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I actually don't watch TV.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't. Well, not that, but any other chefs that you would recommend that are statesborn, stateside?
You totally got me. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, it's okay. I mean, I can't think. It's interesting you should say that, actually, because there's going to be, and also
we're going to stop talking. There's going to be like bing, 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 and we're going to think of all kinds.
And unless, to be fair to a lot of the really, really good chefs of the world, a lot of them don't go in front of the camera, so we only find out about, because it's only in the last 10 years or whatever it is that chefs have become celebrities, haven't they? So all the Michelin star people and all the people that are in the MasterChef one, I can't remember all their names either. But you hear about them because they are in front of it. Probably the best ones of all are busy doing their job, right?
Yeah.
No, that's no shame to the ones that are in front of the camera that are very, very good. I don't think that I'm going to get into trouble. I don't think they'll be watching this, frankly. So I think it'll be all right. So that's kind of who inspires you. Did you say you don't kind of do something? So are you retired now?
I semi kind of retired, and I actually got into wine.
Oh, you
So
did.
yeah, when toward the end of my culinary degree, I went to Napa and I did to the Culinary Institute, and I did a wine pairing class with my food. So I got back into wine when I moved to California, and so I work at a winery, and I kind of pour wine and talk to people and drink wine.
Oh my God, that's such a
so
gorgeous job.
It is a wonderful job. I love
So
it.
you're still, that's what you're doing now?
That is what I do.
All right, okay. So we've been talking about cakes all this time, and now we get to the wine. I'm fascinated by the cakes and frankly the marine biology. There's quite a few people in this group that have got like more than one thing going on. I know that you have not necessarily doing it, but I'm fascinated that you're fascinated in that.
Yeah.
And that there's another subject I don't know anything about. But the wine thing and the wine pairing, that must be really, just like a really interesting thing to be doing. So what would be your tips then? What would be the Californian wine that we should be going for this summer?
Being warmer, you tend to go toward your whites or your rosés, anything that's going to be kind of refrigerated or something like that. In the evenings, a lot of people like their reds. It's kind of like what you like.
Yeah, but have you got a recommendation from the winery that are you working in a winery right now?
I do. So, every wine place has different things.
Yeah.
We usually carry 3 of, different kinds. Right now, I think we're carrying a Chloe Cuvée, a Sauvignon Blanc, and I think we've got 2 bubblies going on.
And
we've
what's
got
the name of your wine?
Frisby Cellars.
Okay, Frisby Cellars.
Yes.
Right, so Frisby Cellars, Sauvignon Blanc, Frisby Cellars, Chardonnay.
We've got, actually, we do have a Chardonnay. It just came out.
All right, okay. Yeah.
So we rotate, and then they get library, and then we make, new ones.
Yeah.
We've got a great cab. Really good.
And have they exported all over the place? So could I get some of these?
No, we do not. Yeah, we do not. You can get them in California.
All right.
I think we go out to. I think we do Texas and Arizona, but that's about it.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, so none of them are, all right, okay, so I'm going to have to go, we're going to come hopefully we're going to come to California.
Yeah, Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
I will bring you. What kind of wine do you like?
Well, I like the Frisby Chardonnay, what is it? Frisby?
Are you a white?
I'm a
red?
white. Well, I'm an either. If it's a good wine, I'm an either. But also, I mean, the wine tasting, that's such good fun. So you must have seen a lot of people fall apart, pretending that they know loads about wine and then just getting really sozzled after about 2 seconds. Oh yes, it's got a nice nose. Well, I'll try that, and just getting really, you must see that all the time.
Well, I'll bring you some wine.
Well, thank you very
Because
much.
I will be at the shows.
or if we have a day off at all, then I might come for tasting.
Oh God, yes.
So
so I work it's Dana Point. It's right in the harbor. It's beautiful. So
I'm
pretty.
so glad we did this interview. You see, there's plenty to talk about. And now you all know that if you're ever in California in that harbor, you know where Heather's winery is. And so this is another interview that is to be continued.
Right.
So thank you so much for shooting the breeze and chatting about, what we just chatted about.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Cheers with this interesting, perhaps we should have another one, but maybe not this one. Really good to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.